How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Blackberry. Some of you have been saying, hey Dre, I want to get an update. Are you still looking at it as a long-term investment? Are there any swing trade opportunities? Well, you know what? We're about to talk about it in today's video. But before we get started, of course, we got to go over the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over is a technical analysis, taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support and we also want to know resistance and what type of moves can Blackberry stock actually make. This will give you the clear picture that you need to have for a strategy if you're looking to do a swing or you want to be holding it long term. And then secondly, we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. I feel this is very key because it will have an impact on the overall stock performance and as well as the stock price. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know are institutions loading up on shares, and we're going to be taking a look at what it was for the past 5 trading days. And then afterwards, when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for Blackberry. So let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $10.18, being down 1.93%. On the low, it tested $10.04, and then on the high, testing $10.44. When we take a look at the volume stats, you can see we traded at 4.737 million shares, and as far as for the average volume over 10 trading days, it is around 8.827 million. Now, when we take a look at our chart, we're using the 1-year daily chart. You can see from the RSI down below, definitely beating up quite a bit, being in the oversold territory at 39.83. As far as for the 200-day, we continue to show some strength. We are below the 21-day EMA, and we're also below the 100-day at $10.52, and we close at $10.18. So one of the things to pay attention to, yes, $10 is an area of support for Blackberry. But if I was going to be getting into this play to get into it long term, and I know there's a lot of concerns about a market crash and so forth, what I'd want to see it do is being able to hold up at the 200-day. This is where I'd be thinking about getting into a starter position. And if it pulled back even further than that, that's when I'd be looking to add to my position even further. Again, this would be for the long term. But now, as far as where the levels are at, this is assuming that this $10 area is support, since it does have strength and price action there. You want to be looking forward to seeing some strong moves. So one thing that we can see very clearly here is that we do have some resistance right around the 1080s area. If we could pass this 1080 area with a lot of buying volume coming into the stock, then we could easily get into the $11 area very quickly here. So if it decides to just kind of consolidate and build support in this particular area, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. And to be exact of what I'm talking about here would be somewhere around the high $9 area. So let's just call this around $9.80, and as well as going all the way up to here, just under $11. Consolidation and support in this area is really not that bad, but there is that potential where I can see this stock pull back, going back into the $9 range. But like I was saying previously, I feel this is great for anyone that's seeing Blackberry as a long-term investment and is willing to actually hold the stock for a considerable amount of time. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for Blackberry. So we can see the short volume ratio here is at 14.26% according to Fintel. As we scroll down on the page, the short shares availability is at 8.3 million, updated 19 minutes ago. And as far as for the short borrow free rate, it is at 0.50%. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, and this is including the FINRA numbers, we can see here for July 23rd close on the Friday, it was at 28.89. And then for the 22nd, it was at 33.82. Throughout this entire period, the highest that it's been was, you could see here on the 21st, being at 43.3 4 throughout this entire period, going as far back as July the 12th. So being at 28.89, let's just call that 29%. That does mean that Blackberry has short squeeze potential. So if we end up having a lot of buying volume coming into the stock, of course, we can look forward to seeing a strong move to the upside. So these are one of the things I want you guys to be aware of. So if you are thinking about trading inside of Blackberry, just make sure you have the right setup and you're waiting on confirmation, and you also have an exit strategy. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Blackberry. So we can see here on the inflow we had 6,851, and on the outflow we had 8,881. We have 0 on the large for both. As far as on the inflow side, the medium we have 2,646, and on the small we have 4,205. As far as on the outflow side, we have 4,887, and as far as for the small, we have 3,994. So definitely it was an outflow day. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see we had 0 on the Friday. We also had an outflow day on the 22nd, which was Thursday, being at 781.92. We also had 0 as far as for the 21st, and as far as for the 20th, we had a big time inflow day being at 1,447.13, and on July the 19th being at 627.2, and of course that was an outflow day. So of course, for Blackberry is concerned, when I was also taking a look at the shareholder breakdown, there's also a lot of institutions who are vested in Blackberry as well. So this is part of the reasons why we've been able to see some fairly strong price action in the sense of how it's holding down support in that $10 area. But what I'm actually looking out for, I feel like it can pull back and start going into the 9s, and this is where it could present a possible opportunity, but it all depends on how the pattern is actually looking like, and of course you want to be looking forward to seeing a reversal. So I won't take up any more time. Let's now jump into the final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for Blackberry, this is definitely a stock I'm going to be keeping on my watch list. As far as a strategy is concerned, if you're thinking about getting into the long term, I would practice some patience here, because I can see the stock going back into the $9 level. Even taking a look at analyst price targets, I think it's actually around $9.50. That's pretty much where they see this stock 1 year from now. So keeping everything in mind, if you've done your homework and you've done your due diligence, yes, there is a potential and the ability for Blackberry to actually surpass that price target. Also, when we took a look at Fintel, we could see there's definitely some short squeeze potential in Blackberry, and that's one thing to be aware of. And the matter of the fact is, if this is the play that you're waiting on as far as for a short squeeze, then you must have to keep it on your watch list, because the first thing that you want to look out for is a lot of volume coming into the stock. If you have a lot of volume coming in and it's a lot of buying pressure, then we could see a strong move to the upside. But another thing to also be aware of, when I was doing some further research, as far as for the average price for shareholders, it is around $15. So there is a lot of bag holders that are inside of this stock. So any kind of momentum that Blackberry gets, I could see a lot of selling pressure coming with it. So I just want to make sure that is something you're aware of, especially if you're thinking about getting into a swing trade. It is looking fairly bearish, and on top of that, we do have a lot of bag holders, so any momentum that we get can be interrupted. But of course, it all comes down to volume at the end of the day. One thing about Blackberry that is something that is good to see, and I don't know if we've covered it as of yet, on their most recent earnings report, they were able to beat expectations. We've also seen, they've been pivoting. They want to be better, right? They want to make sure that, they're giving value to their shareholders. Of course, they've gotten a lot of attention over this whole entire meme stock craze, but I do believe, as far as the fundamentals are concerned of Blackberry, this is a company that I really want to see succeed. So with all that said, just make sure if you're going inside of this play, you're doing your homework, you're doing your due diligence, and you're making sure whatever you decide to do is the best decision for your investments. And as far as for your trades as well, if you're going to be going in that direction. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.